What are we? What makes us what we are? And what we're going to be? I think it's that right there. It's grit. It's grit.
And we're back. How we feeling, fellas? Lions are 8-1, coming off a Sunday night football in Houston, Texas. Woo! Horns down, baby. I mean, we're all. Geez, I don't even know where to start with this one, guys. I sound like a broken record every week. Where do we start? But
I had crazy flashbacks from being a Lions fan years ago, where this was the type of game that we would lose. And man, they pulled it out of the bag. They just put their heads down, just like we did earlier today. We had technical difficulties, and we just kept going, man.
Battle through adversity.
That's right.
Exactly.
Plax has been trying to get that mic going for the last hour and a half.
Well, 4 weeks.
Really the last 4 weeks, but
4 weeks, yeah.
we gave up.
We're gonna need that money back, Plax. We gotta upgrade the old podcasts here. So, all right, boys. So, before we get into it, just a quick word from our sponsor. This week's sponsor comes to you through Annual Painting. Are you in the Greater Grand Rapids area in the need of a painting contractor? We know it's getting cold. We know that we might not be doing any exterior paintings, but get your interior painting, wallpaper, light drywall finishing, all the above through Annual Painting. You can contact me, Caleb Annual, at yahoo.com, or my number. You know my number, 269-277-3173. Winter promotions are available at the moment. So if you are interested in that, you can give me a call or reach out to Annual Painting on Instagram or Facebook. And I'll come out there, give you a free estimate, and we'll get it done. Make it look beautiful for you. All right, there's our word from our sponsor. Let's get into it. Lions 8-1. Clay, what was your thoughts on last night's first half?
Well, from snap one, I really thought we were definitely in trouble. It felt we're run the football and develop the pass, and we're just passing way too early, obviously, because we know how that first drive ended. But it just really felt like that first drive was going to be a dud from play one. If we felt flat on play number one. So instantly I'm like, oh, here we go, Tampa 2.0. We're going to be throwing the football about 50 times. So
yeah,
that was my initial fear of the game.
Yep. Plax, same thing?
Pretty much. I mean, we've been talking the last 7 weeks. We were kind of waiting on one. You know what I mean? Every week we can't even, like we sit here on the pod, we can't hardly find anything to even talk down about. It was a matter of time. And like the glaze fest of the Lions this week was so thick, like talking about how great we are. And yeah, I don't know if we came in too overconfident or what. I mean, Houston, they've kind of been struggling. They were terrible at the Jets last week. But they're still a playoff team and they can score points. And like they just came out playing like that Texans team we've seen the first few weeks. And it was just like we could not get ahead of ourselves.
Everything just reminded me, and I'll get Adrian's thoughts here in a minute. Uh-oh. Hearing a little. There we go. Nope, I'm hearing a little backup. You guys hearing that at all or no?
Yeah, I heard about a little bit.
It's live television, baby.
That's right. We're gonna have technical problems all day, but it's all good because it's the all grit. The first half, man, it was Lions of old. Every little thing. I mean, we talk about Jack Fox being the punt god in this town, and his first two punts probably went 35 or 40. I mean, everything.
That's when you knew we were flat. That's when you're like, okay, we're off.
It was off. You know, if you're going to special teams,
Yeah.
go ahead, Adrian. Your thought on the whole first half, man.
It was just like you could feel the vibe. Like Goff's first throw just to the ground, which is, smart. But just to me, the gut feeling, the way that played out, and then, then comes the accidental pick after the tip. And I was like, here we go. And, Caleb, you were there when Eden was talking to us at the assembly. And Eden always has a pretty good gut feeling. And what did she say about yesterday's game? Hours before kickoff.
She said it's going to be that game that go ahead, you say. I'm going to mess up her words.
She said people are underestimating the Texans. Yeah. It's going to be a really gut wrenching game that is going to be won by a field goal. And that's exactly what happened, dude. Yeah, Caleb's like, I'm going to go throw up in the bathroom.
Right.
Top tier analysis.
I did say that, yeah. And she called it, boy. Dang.
She called it, man. I hate it when she's right. Yeah.
Yeah, but she was right. From Jared Goff. Yeah, so out of his 5 interceptions that he had, so one was a tip, right? The second one was a tip. I think the third one was an actual just bad throw. Fourth was the Hail Mary, or maybe the third was the Hail Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, you can take that one off, and then you can take
Hail Mary right for halftime.
Right, and then he threw 2 in the second half?
Yes.
Yeah,
there was one that was intended to Laporta after the Carlton Davis pick. It was going to be a touchdown, and the guy cut the route.
Yeah.
That was Goff.
And I think J-Mo didn't – he was either supposed to stay flat with it, but he turned in. I don't know. It looked
too
like
aggressive,
he was –
though. In the second half, definitely those aggressive picks right there.
Yep.
Stupid. But we can take a couple picks off, so he maybe threw 3. No, probably only 2 of his fault. I mean, if 2 of them were tipped, one of them was the Hail Mary right before half, you could probably take 3 off.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that one, it was like a sack fumble. It was a strip fumble, and it bounced off 2 guys and then got tipped straight up in the air. I mean,
Helen Keller could have
he should have got it off earlier, but I mean, that's just bad luck. As soon as that happened, it was like, yeah, this is how this is gonna go.
Yep. So we go into halftime. We come out of halftime. How you boys feeling? Because we're down 6-24.
I thought this would be a very depressing podcast, is what I thought.
Oh, you didn't have faith, bro. This is the BNL, not the SOL. So I literally thought, you know what? He's throwing interceptions left and right. I'll be honest with you guys. It was in the fourth quarter. Chas was mad, and I'm sitting there going, but they're still not out of it. I know how fast this team can score. All they got to do is do what they know how to do.
Bro, but what was just like, it just took my sales away was the interceptions.
Right after
Davis. Like just when we make an awesome defensive play, 3 and out, or those 2 amazing interceptions, immediately afterward, Goff throws an interception. So I'm just like, don't even throw the ball anymore. Like I just felt like giving up. Like it would have been different if it was 3 and outs and we punt it. Then it's like, all right, keep trying, like keep going. But it was just demoralizing every time you just throw a pick.
Every time we caught a break or had a huge stop by the defense.
I know.
We'll talk about later. It's just we weren't rewarding our defense. Our defense kept us in that game.
Yeah,
bro. This defense is ready, bro, for a Super Bowl.
A what?
A Super Bowl.
Oh, I had the drop music muted. What is this team ready for?
Super Bowl.
Don't ever mute my drop board. God. All right, yeah. So let's talk about that defense. I was pretty disappointed when I found out that our brand new defensive end was not playing, but you know, he wanted to, and if you think about it, we all think that he needed to play, which he probably did, but this goes back to Dan Campbell. I'm sure you guys listened to it all today, right? He's a player. He's a player's coach. Mm-hmm. He knows that man needs a rest at some point. Of course, we would love for him to rest next week, right?
Yeah.
But he would let him rest this week, and even after the game, Smith was sitting around talking with the crew, and he said, Dan, against me, I wanted to play, but Dan, for the better judgment, held me out today. So
yeah, because then he would have played 18 games the whole season, like never rested.
Yep.
So he needs it. He's a veteran,
I don't know, bro. Have you heard of healthy scratch? Why couldn't they just do a healthy scratch next week and just get him in for the more important game?
True. Yeah, I don't know,
and
man.
just healthy scratch
made the call. It worked. I mean, look at this. I wanted to show the box score. We actually had 4 sacks. We had 4 sacks and 9 tackles for a loss, bro. That's huge. 9 TFLs to their
Texans,
3.
Man, Texans got conservative in that second half with their running, and we were all about it. Like, go ahead, man, keep running the football.
Yep.
Run defense was insane.
And I loved how Za'Darius, he wasn't just like a healthy scratch just sitting around. Clay, you brought it up. The whole game, he was coaching on the sideline, telling his guys. And an interview after the game, they're asking like, what were you telling him? And he was telling the defensive line guys to listen to the protection being called out by the other center to see where they were going to lean to then be more proactive, where they were going to throw their bodies as soon as the ball was snapped. And that's when the sacks started coming, when they started listening to the protection calls from the offensive line from the Texans. It was kind of cool.
That's great insight. Where did you hear that?
It was an interview from Sunday Night Football right after the game.
That's awesome.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yep.
I really liked too how they were. I mean, even had the squad laughing on the sideline a little bit. It's kind of you get the atmosphere right. Then you look at San Francisco earlier in the day. They're out choking each other and yelling at each other, and this squad, man, they stay together, bro. They stay together. It's a bond, man.
Yeah, who does that?
Good point. Good point. Let's go off that for just a second. You got San Francisco doing that. You got Lions doing what we did. Did you guys hear what Micah Parsons said about his coach?
He can go wherever he wants. Is that what he said?
Yes. Can you imagine? And I'm watching the show, like they're talking about this has never been said. I mean, you can lose a locker room, you can lose a coach. I mean, there's internal fighting. He literally said, "I don't care where this coach goes. He doesn't have to stay here." I mean, and he was getting ragged by commentators on today's show. Yeah, just saying like, who are you, bro? That's a Super Bowl winning coach. What have you done?
Yeah.
And I told Chas as we're sitting on the couch watching that, I said, Chas, do you know who we picked instead of Micah Parsons? She goes, who? I said, we picked Penei Sewell. We picked him ahead of Micah Parsons. Aren't you glad? And she goes, wow. Look at the difference between those two guys right now.
Yep.
As good as he is. So
yeah.
Anyway, any stats that you guys had that you wanted to bring out?
I like the between first and second half. So the first half, Texans scored on 6 of their first 7 possessions.
Mm-hmm.
And then that flipped to the second half of 4 punts, 2 interceptions, and a missed field goal. Night and day.
Yeah. I wanted to bring out how Jared Goff and CJ Stroud, their numbers were not far off. They're actually almost identical, but everybody looks at Goff as having a terrible game because there's a 5 on the interception chart. But I mean, if you look and compare the numbers, 240, 230, 1 touchdown, 15 out of 30. It was almost identical for both quarterbacks.
Holy cow.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah,
so you take away those 3 picks that we say that could be iffy. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but Vanilla Vic don't get sacked like CJ Stroud.
True.
He escapes the pocket. I don't know, that dude can't run or something, but we got.
Oh,
which
and he
is
run
crazy.
for that 8-yard first down too. I think it was 8 yards, 6 or 8 yards. That first down that took 20 minutes for him to run.
Mm-hmm.
Vanilla Vic, baby. All right, so listen, man, we got a couple things we got to get into. Let's get into. You want to do Speak Pipe first, Adrian, or you want to do Zach?
Sure, we can do a Speak Pipe question. This is coming in from Tevin Eubanks. He is a loyal listener of the All Gritt podcast.
Shout out, Tevin.
We bumped into him this weekend. Shout out to Tevin. We'll have you as a guest on the podcast soon, but here is his question this week.
Do you guys think that Dan Campbell should have ran one more play before that final field goal?
So at the end of the game, we're draining the clock. and we had a couple seconds left, maybe 12 or something. No, we had like 30 seconds, right? He was running it down until he took the timeout, which then the refs messed that up. I don't know if you guys saw
Oh,
that.
yeah.
They botched that.
Well, from what I saw, correct me if I'm wrong, the ref starts calling a timeout even though Dan Campbell didn't move his mouth, and they stopped it at 6 seconds. And Dan's like, no, I did not stop it at 6.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I saw. Did you guys see the same thing?
Yeah.
Because he's trying to get down to the magical number of 4.
Right.
Giving
so the
them no
0
time
play clock. Yep.
Right. So I think, I don't know. Maybe somebody messed up on that, but or maybe the screen looked different than what was on the field.
So to answer Tevin's question, I have a funny answer for it. I personally believe that our kicker, Jake Bates, amazing game. I think he's better from 50 plus than he is from the 30 range.
Mhm.
Like, this guy can kick from far, and those kicks, the 58 yarder, it was like towards the top of the crossbar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, the guy had leg room for another 5-10 yards.
And I think too, if you run one more play, you might not get the hash that he wanted. So you got the spot where he wanted it. He's comfortable there. You run one more play, you might lose 1 or 2 yards.
Yeah.
And then you lose your spot too. So
yeah.
He bombed that one from 58. I don't think they were too concerned about getting an extra 2 or 3 yards. They already had it. They had it made up in their mind. They're going to let it rip, and they're comfortable with where they're at.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't have a problem with it at all. I want the ball, less plays, less opportunities for fumbles and everything else. So
that's a good question, though. I mean, any other situation, any other kicker, you're probably fighting and scrapping to get any extra yards you can.
Yep.
But when you got a cannon of a leg like he does, I think they were perfectly fine with letting it rip from where they were at.
All right, man. Thanks, Tevin, for the question. Appreciate it. Everybody who wants to get a question into the podcast, go ahead and let us know on SpeakPipe. All right, this question comes in from Zach Griffer via the IG account here. He says, RG3 said that Goff is officially out of the MVP race after throwing 5 picks. Is this an overreaction? And if not, does Goff have time to get back into the conversation? I think that's a great question coming from Zach. So let me throw that out to Adrian first. What do you think about that?
I think Goff was being really humble. He didn't want the distraction of the MVP race in the locker room, so he just kind of threw a bad game on purpose so that they didn't have to deal with that conversation anymore. He's like, I don't want this, guys. I don't want to be MVP. Let's just get that out of the way. We're focused on a Super Bowl, man. No, to answer that for real, I think if he still plays the way he was the rest of the season, he'll still be in the race. But, the MVP trophy, it's not a real trophy. It's always been a popularity contest for the press. It hasn't always been the most valuable player. But he could get back on the train if the rest of the year. But I personally don't care for it. Like, I'd rather have a Super Bowl than 5 MVPs.
For sure. Yeah. Why don't you ask Lamar Jackson if he'd trade in 2 of his MVPs for a ring? Go ahead, Clay.
I'm gonna write with what Adrian said. RG3 retweeted that tweet after the game and said, "Won the game, lost the MVP, but I'm sure Jared Goff will be okay with a Super Bowl ring." And I think that says it all, right? With what Adrian said, like that's what matters.
Yeah.
All goals are in front of them.
So, Plax, what do you think? You got a thought on it? I do, but I'll wait for you.
I mean, I think it's an overreaction, but I mean, I think Goff, no matter even if he played great and he finished the season great, he's always going to be kind of a stretch. Like, who do you think they're going to give it to if it's even a question? Goff or Lamar Jackson? It's like he's not going to ever be the sexy pick regardless. But to say you have one bad game and then you can't finish out the rest of the year and still be a candidate, I mean, not many guys play a full 17, 18, and they're just great every single game. There's always, you're going to have a game like that. And like we said, a few of those picks might not really have been on him, but when you look at the box score, you see 5 picks. I mean, it's eye-popping. It doesn't look good. People had a lot of stuff to say about it, but it is what it is. I think he can still finish the year. I mean, if he keeps going, what if he just keeps going 18 for 18, 22 for 25? Like I said, I don't think he really cares. Obviously, as a fan base, we would love to have our guys MVP. That'd be sick. But it's an overreaction, just like, everybody sings praises for anybody, college, NFL, whatever, one bad game, then all of a sudden the team sucks or this or that. So I ain't really tripping on that.
I absolutely agree. I think it is a overreaction. I think Goff is still in the conversation, and I'll even up the ante because we won the game last night. He's still in the conversation. If he would have lost, our record is now 7-2.
Yes.
And then maybe that trickles over. Maybe there's a whatever. But the fact that Lamar Jackson is still on a team, as good as they are, they have 3 losses, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Anybody know offhand? They have 3 losses.
The
right?
Texans 6-4.
No, the Ravens.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just wondering the Ravens because I think they've lost at least 2 or 3 times. So, and they're playing a pretty heavy schedule over there in the AFC. So my point is, we're about to hit a soft part of our schedule. We're gonna ring up 3 or 4 wins right now. Goff is still in it. Like Plaque said, he's gonna heat back up. That was a stinker of a game, but his team helped him, and he's gonna heat back up. He's gonna do 18 for 20, 18 for 22 again, and he's gonna keep throwing for yards. He's gonna keep throwing for touchdowns, and he will be right there. But I still say it is a popularity contest. It will go to him. It will go to Lamar, or it'll go to who's the other person in the.
Patrick Mahomes.
No, I don't even think he's in it because he's got tons of interception. Well, so does Goff.
I know, but it's how it is.
I do want to say
Ravens are 7-3.
Yeah, I do want to say Goff turned it on in the fourth quarter, and he was his prior self before the earlier 3 quarters.
Football. Run the ball and set up the pass.
Yeah,
that's all.
ran it, and then he was just dumping it off. Boom, 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 boom. And that's when we scored that touchdown with Montgomery. So he in the fourth quarter was able to get all that garbage out of his head. He wasn't into the moment of like, oh, I suck. Like I just threw 5 picks. He just focused on what was next, and he got us down the field. He did what he needed to do. That
play to St. Brown to set up that field goal was perfect. How St. Brown was able to be wide open to get that yardage.
All right, boys. Adrian, I believe you have something for us. You have some announcements and you have some shout-outs. Why don't you
just a couple announcements. So, as always, we're always trying to get better on the All Gritt podcast. So, just starting today, we're also on iHeartRadio and Pandora if you guys like to use those apps. So, look us up on there. Also, a shout-out to our listeners on the other side of the pond. We've got some new listeners from Stockholm, Sweden. How cool is that? So shout out to our Sweden people. I thought that was cool.
What up, though?
We are international for sure. And one of our listeners, Noel, one of the original Lions Camp boys, he sent us a video. He was at Tin Lizzie's in Chicago. And he shared a video of just like the hype, everything that happened towards the end of the game. Let me see if I can share that video here for those that are watching on YouTube. There it is.
We got any sound on that or no? No sound. In Chicago.
It's lit.
That is in Chicago.
Yeah, if you're watching on the podcast, there's a bar in Chicago that's getting overrun by Detroit Lions fans, and all you it's just you said it's a Lions bar in Chicago.
Yeah, it's called Tin Lizzie's.
Beautiful.
So, pretty cool to see that.
Basically, there is no excuse to not listen to the podcast because there's not a freaking platform out there that we're not on. We're nationwide, worldwide. Tap in. No excuse. Let's go.
That's right, baby. All right, let's get into it. We got 5 minutes left. Who fumbled the game ball for you? Clay, who fumbled? There's a lot of different choices here.
Goff with aggressive passes, man. Like, I think you could have had a 47 to 13 game if you don't turn the ball over like that. So, Goff.
All right, let's go Adrian next.
Who fumbled? Oh man, I would also say Goff. It's like he fumbled but then recovered. You know when he fumbles sometimes, but he gets his own fumble. It was kind of like that for the whole game because he fumbled when those first 2 picks weren't his fault. Where it was just like the batted down pass and then they catch it, but that got in his head where he wanted to be uber aggressive and just get back on the board super quick. That then he made some bad throws and bad decisions, which made it even worse. But I will give him props for picking himself up from that and recovering. But
right on.
I'll give it to him.
What you got?
Well, I'm impelled to get something off my chest.
Who you been talking to online now, bro?
No, when mistakes are made, shortcomings happen. You got to man up. You got to accept it. And if there wasn't video evidence of this, I would just deny it till I die. But I was basically asleep for the entire second half of the game.
Oh
Don't
my
bring
God.
it up.
If you're watching live right now, Plax's wife, Amber, sent us a still shot here. Go ahead.
Good. It's not playing. No. Stop.
Oh, man, it froze. It keeps freezing.
I was intermittent in the second half. There were some tacos. There were some Bud Heavies at halftime. So I was in and out. I've seen most of the important stuff. Missed the last second kick. I've reviewed the footage.
Was it in?
It was in.
All right.
But yeah, I fumbled. Second time in my life I've fallen asleep on an important game.
There's the moment he woke up and saw the victory. If you're not watching on YouTube, you've got to go to timestamp 27 minutes 34 seconds, and
in a state of confusion and shock and awe.
Yeah, Amber's going crazy. Field goal. They just won. She's screaming her head off, and then he wakes up. He's like, "What?"
It was a long day. I fumbled. I know exactly what happened. I will be watching the second half again in its entirety.
All right.
Things happen. You got to move on, and you got to press forward. And I'm going to put this one behind me, and look forward to next week.
We appreciate that, man. We appreciate the honesty. I'm going to go just briefly. Sorry, the echo is driving me nuts. I'm going to go briefly with I gave Terrion Arnold the game ball last week, and I'm going to take that back and make him fumble. That dude could have cost us the 15-yarder at the very end. I mean, that was over the back. It was before. I don't know how the refs didn't throw it, especially because it's Terrion, but maybe Anzalone hit it a little bit before, so they didn't call it.
I think that's what it was.
But this is some deep stuff for Plax to look at when he's watching the game again. Brian Branch, 2 minutes and 30-something seconds left. They throw the ball left for like 6 or 7 yards. Brian Branch gets over there, and I'm like, why are you so late, Brian Branch? Like, you're nowhere. That's not like you. As soon as he pushes them out of bounds, they got the first down with 2 minutes left, and they're driving. I see Brian Branch on the sidelines throwing his hands down, and I'm like, whoa, why is he upset? That's not normal. He was mad at Terrion because if you look at it, they kind of split the receivers out, and Terrion was supposed to go with the wider man and supposed to stay with the slot guy. And that rookie messed up, and it's just those little plays that Branch already knows.
Yeah.
As a 2-year player or even as a ball hawk, just an
all-pro.
Just little stuff like that. Like, okay, if the dude's on the outside, you stick the outside, and I got the inside guy. Just several plays throughout the game was just like, and then he got another PI. Just, I hope he cleans it up, man. I hope the coaching is just like turn around because the dude is on him every time. Even the touchdown that was on Terrion Arnold, Tyrion was right on him. All he had to do is turn around. His hand was literally in the guy's arm. So it's like, he gets the fumble for me. He needs to do better for being a, first pick in the draft.
I think he's still great, man. I think year 2 next year, he's going to have a really nice jump where he'll be able to turn around on some of those throws and catch interceptions.
I hope so. All right, real quick, I got to head out of here. Who received game ball for you, Clay? You're muted, bro. Let's go to Adrian.
All right, game ball, I would say I'd give it to the entire defense. Aaron Glenn or the entire defense. They did amazing, bro. The whole second half. Hold on, I'm getting a little feedback. The whole second half, bro, they shut out the Texans. And this is CJ Stroud, the reigning offensive rookie of the year. Texans, reigning division champs. And they just put clamps on it, just put their head down, and play after play, one at a time, they did not let them score. It was awesome to see, and that's what gives me confidence that this team can go to the Super Bowl, because that defensive performance for an entire half.
Nice. Clay, now that you've unmuted yourself, who gets the game ball?
I'm going to give it to Hogan and Fox for a perfect setup for Bates to hit that game-winning field goal.
You're going deep with it.
Nice.
I love it. Plax, who you got?
Yeah, Adrian, he kind of took my idea. Neil, he had a great game, stuffing it up the middle. But, like, you look at the defensive front, run defense, team effort. Mixon came in hot. He's been having a great year, kind of resurgence for his career. And I'll give the Texans credit for sticking to their guns and trying to establish the run. This dude had 25 carries for 46 yards. He had the one short touchdown, but the run defense, I mean, they've been good all year, but maybe their best performance, they're outstanding.
Amen, brother. And I am going with none other than Carlton Davis III. Without him playing how he played the other day, jeez, we would have lost. When CJ Stroud, and you'll watch the replay, when he floated that touchdown pass instead of streaking that in his stomach and ending the game, and Carlton Davis comes out and does a Brian Branch dive. I mean, on his fingertips. Oh, sorry, Plax, you haven't seen that yet. We'll
I've seen it.
I thought it was Brian Branch.
I was there for that one.
Oh, you're there. Bud Heavy didn't set in just yet. But yeah, Carlton Davis, man. He's unbelievable game, and he did get the game ball. So
yeah.
All right. Hold on one second. Who is this from Zach Griffer? Oh, is he watching? Don't forget Dan calling for a defensive turnover at the start of the second half, and we immediately took off Stroud. Oh yeah.
While he was in the middle of the interview.
Yeah, that was amazing. That was sick. Thanks for listening in live, Zach. Appreciate that. All right. You know what? This is killing me. Adrian, take us out, man. I'm gonna mute up.
All right. Well, thanks everyone. We'll have a couple guests hopefully this week leading into Jacksonville, and a couple guests for the Colts game. Man, Lions can keep this rolling. I think the streak is we're at 6 in a row, guys. 6 wins in a row, or 7?
7.
7 in a row. That's insane. Let's keep it going. Every Sunday is win day. Have a great week, y'all.
What are we? What makes us what we are? And what we're going to be? I think it's that right there. It's grit.